Seriously, though, we've heard a lot about extremism recently. A nastier, harsher atmosphere everywhere, more abuse and bother boy behavior, less friendliness and tolerance and respect for opponents. All right, but what we never hear about extremism is its advantages. Well, the biggest advantage of extremism is that it makes you feel good because it provides you with enemies. Let me explain. The great thing about having enemies is that you can pretend that all the badness in the whole world is in your enemies and all the goodness in the whole world is in you. Attractive, isn't it? So, if you have a lot of anger and resentment in you anyway, and you therefore enjoy abusing people, then you can pretend that you're only doing it because these enemies of yours are such very bad persons. And that if it wasn't for them, you'd actually be good-natured and courteous and rational all the time. So, if you want to feel good, become an extremist. Okay, now you have a choice. If you join the hard left, they'll give you their list of authorized enemies. Almost all kinds of authority, especially the police, the city, Americans, judges, multinational corporations, public schools, furriers, newspaper owners, fox hunters, generals, class traitors, and, of course, moderates. Or, if you'd rather be an extremist on the hard right, no problem, fine, you still get a lovely list of enemies, only they're different ones. Noisy minority groups, unions, Russia, weirdos, demonstrators, welfare sponges, meddlesome clergy, peaceniks, the BBC, strikers, social workers, communists, and, of course, moderates. And upstart actors. Now, once you're armed with one of these super lists of enemies, you can be as nasty as you like and yet feel your behaviors morally justified. So you can strut around abusing people and telling them you could eat them for breakfast and still think of yourself as a champion of the truth, a fighter for the greater good, and not the rather sad paranoid schizoid that you really are.
Today on the Common Sense and Random Shit Show, are you an extremist?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning! Thought I'd start off with a little giggle. Are you an extremist? Well, I don't think so. I'm not. I mean, I extremely believe in what I believe, but I won't act on it. You know, I just noticed my little logo thingy. You know, the goatee thing almost matches. I went through like 50, maybe 60 versions of it till I finally said, yeah, this one kind of looks like me. So, yeah, I hope it stays that way. Anyway, morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Fernando Rivera Jr. here, your friendly neighborhood conservative ex-con with the common sense and random shit show. Because it is what it is. That was kind of funny. I found that, and I said, you know what, let me start off this way. This is old. I think it's John. Was it John Cleese? Funny British guy. But it's a funny take, but it's not funny, especially here in America. You know, and it drives me nuts because, in all honesty, let's be real, all these extremists, whether it's on the left or the right, they're just a bunch of sounds like ussies. You know, to let yourself get to that level where you're extreme and you got to act on your extremism, you're crazy. But anyway, I'm also tired of the both sides thing and the extremism on both sides, blah, 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 blah. It's bullshit. And apparently, so an article just came out proving me right and a bunch of other conservatives. Just saying. Except for one thing. Check it out.
I'm national correspondent Kayla Gaskins in Washington. A deadly attack at an ICE facility in Dallas, Texas leaves at least one dead and 2 others injured. Just before 7 a.m. Wednesday, a gunman opened fire at an ICE detention facility in Dallas. FBI Director Cashapp releasing initial evidence pointing to a potential political motive by the shooter. unspent shell casings engraved with the phrase anti-ICE.
This is just the most recent example of this type of attack.
It comes as the Center for Strategic and International Studies prepares to release an analysis where they found for the first time in more than 30 years, political violence by the far left has surpassed attacks by the far right. We spoke with one of the authors, Dan Byman.
The agenda of President Trump has caused tremendous outrage among many people on the extreme left.
Other examples of recent left-wing violence include the assassination of political activist Charlie Kirk, the assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, the two attempted assassinations of President Donald Trump, first in Butler, Pennsylvania, then again at his golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida, and the shooting of a Texas police officer at an ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas.
His policies regarding immigration and the LGBTQ community, among others, are important issues for this community.
While the violence from the right has decreased dramatically, it hasn't disappeared. In June, an alleged assassin killed Minnesota state lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband.
Political violence has gotten out of control in this country. If you want to stop political violence, stop attacking our law enforcement as the Gestapo. If you want to stop political violence, stop telling your supporters that everybody who disagrees with you is a Nazi. If you want to stop political violence, look in the mirror. That's the way that we stop political violence in this country, and we've got to do it.
The recent political violence comes amid an exponential increase in threats against public officials, including local lawmakers, judges, and even members of Congress. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
All right. The one problem I have with that thing is how they labeled the Hortman issue a political. It was not from the right. Whether the guy voted for Trump or not, it wasn't a political from the right assassination. The dude had issues. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? And he worked for Tim Walz. I'm not saying the guy was a Dem, a lib, but he was crazy. Nothing to do with political violence. So I don't understand how they threw that in there as far as violence from the right. You notice that was the only one they had in there? Everything else was from the left. Extremists. Just saying. Anyway, I don't know if you guys saw this the other day, but see, Florida, where I am, they started this new thing. Let's look at it. And I have something to say about it.
Now available for Floridians to report political violence. State leaders unveil the Combat Violent Extremism portal. Monday, citizens can upload screenshots, videos, or other evidence. Reports go straight to state prosecutors. Submissions can be anonymous. The announcement comes as political attacks are rising nationwide, including the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
We must protect before people are shot, before explosives go off. We must protect before people are injured or lose their lives.
Here's a look at the website. It's called Combat Violent Extremism. We've posted a link on our website at firstcoastnews.com if you'd like to check it out.
Now, I have something to say about that. I see what they're trying to do. I mean, it's an effort from Florida here in Florida. But if you're at the point where you're taking your phone out and you're recording a situation like that, I don't know. I don't think I'd just be standing by and allowing something like that to happen, especially when it comes to another individual's life. I don't know. This is Florida, though. Different laws are different here. This is a gunshine state, so, I mean, I can't carry. That's the shit part of it. But, as I mentioned before, I do have an opportunity somehow in the near future when I'm a little successful, I guess, and get a little money somehow, because I don't make money doing this. And I can go back and have my record expunged, and it'll just be some minor offenses that, you know, no violence. But this one here kind of screwed me up. Hopefully in the future, we'll see. Long story, but I'll talk about that another day. Anyway, I don't know. What do you think? You think it'll work? I mean, back in the day, I would call it a snitch line. And right now, I don't consider it a snitch line. I don't know. Let's see how that works. I just don't see why anyone would, you know, something political violence is going to happen. Oh, let me take out my phone. well, let's record it and run away. I don't know. Just know. Anyway, Pam Bondi, I'm sure you saw this. You know, making her
We're
threats.
witnessing a new era of political violence. Assassins have tried to murder President Trump twice and tried to kill Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh. In Minnesota, legislators and even children attending Mass were gunned down in cold blood in 2 separate incidents. And an assassin targeted and murdered our friend Charlie Kirk. A sniper shot 3 people at a Texas ICE facility, and now more than 200 violent rioters were at a Chicago ICE facility chanting, "Arrest ICE, shoot ICE." At least one had a gun. We've seen this before. We saw it in Portland and with the LA riots. These are not peaceful protests. These are coordinated attacks by radical extremists, and they end now. Anyone who threatens or assaults our federal officers will be arrested and charged federally, not in some liberal state court. Same goes for anyone who's funding and aiding these extremists. You will be dismantled brick by brick. We are taking our country back. Make America safe again.
Okay. Okay. Why aren't people in jail right now? Like a lot of people. Hillary, Shifty Schiff, Clyburn. Was it Clyburn? I forgot his name. A bunch of them. Why aren't they in jail? You started with Comey, got it. You know, they keep saying there's going to be more to come. Waiting. We've been waiting since January. I don't know. So sometimes I think she's a lot of talk. Acts like a badass. I've been through enough people like that where they act the shit, but they're not. We'll see. We will see. It is what it is. Am I the only one that thinks J.D. Vance is probably the best VP ever? I mean, I'm 54 years old. I've been through a lot of VPs. Just saying, says it how it is.
There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder.
Issue I mentioned last week that I had at one of my jobs. When I asked someone, what do you think about what happened to Charlie Kirk? He was like, oh, that's horrible. But he put it upon himself. I wanted to hit the guy. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I told him off. I, respectfully disrespected him and told him what a piece of shit he was. And let's just work together so I don't. Anyway, yeah.
There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree.
Extremism. I don't know. I'm sure you guys have heard of Andy No. He's always appearing here and there on Vox. I thought a couple years ago, when everything started going on with Andy No and Tifa, more than an idea. I had a video last week. They're a lot more than an idea. Come on, people like us, regular people, know that they're real. They're not an idea. That's like saying the gang I was involved in that I got tattoos of that I did time for was an idea. No, it wasn't. It was a gang. They have 2 ABC specials about them. Trust me. There are people doing life right now because of it. There are people that are dead right now because of the idea. There was no idea. But anyway, I always thought he was undercover. I didn't know. I didn't know the story about Andy No until I saw this video. I cut it, obviously, so it's not ridiculously long, but it's interesting. And obviously, it has to do with the subject today. I put a link in the description if you want to watch the whole thing. It's probably like 3 minutes more that I'm going to show here. But very interesting. I'm just saying. Check it out.
Anti-fascism, anti-racism, all these great sounding ideas. All of these groups are building towards recruiting and normalizing violent extremism on the left. My name is Andy Ngo, and this is my story. I grew up in Portland, Oregon with my parents and one sister. My sister and I were the first generation born in the West. My parents immigrated to the United States in 1979 as asylum seekers. They were refugees from Vietnam. Around 2014, I applied into a graduate program at Portland State University, and I studied political science with a focus on Middle East and North African politics. I started paying attention a lot more to news. It was during this time at Portland State that I saw an ad in the student paper seeking applicants to be contributors to the student newspaper. In November of 2016, after the election results were known, Portland had 3 days of violent rioting by far-left extremists. And I was assigned to go out and get some videos and write a story about the protests that were happening pretty close to Portland State. In the beginning, nobody knew who I was, and so they left me alone. I would say around 2018, what changed was after some of my writing pieces went viral, I started being targeted. And at that time, I was naive. I thought, okay, people are just going to show up and call me names and insults and try to block me with their hands and signs. I'll be fine. I underestimated their extremism. So on the 29th of June 2019, Rose City Antifa had announced a direct action to counter a Proud Boys event. I followed with a GoPro and my mobile phone, and some of them began to throw some of their drinks at me earlier in the day, threw it in my face, threw it in my hair, threw it at my equipment. Antifa claimed to protect and defend people of color from racists. I did not think that they would eventually attack a journalist of color. I was in front of the Justice Center in downtown, and suddenly I felt something hit me really hard in the back of the head. There were people dressed in black who just surrounded me, and I just felt punches to the head and face in every direction. I tried really hard to hold on to my GoPro equipment. Unfortunately, in the beating, somebody wrangled it out of my hands and took off. I remember thinking at that point, police are going to come in and help me, but there was no police. They didn't come. I was hospitalized and diagnosed with a brain bleed. I was very lucky to survive that. I went through many, many months of pretty intensive forms of therapies, physical, occupational, speech. One of the lingering effects of the subarachnoid brain hemorrhage is I have memory issues. It's been pretty devastating to suffer that as a journalist. I'm lucky that I was able to regain my balance, and some of my speech and cognitive issues have minimized. I'm lucky that I survived it. The public is presented with so much propaganda from the far left, and it works, unfortunately. Portland is an example of what happens when political violence from the left is just normalized, and that people tolerate it or accept it because they think it's being done for a noble cause. People are brainwashed into thinking that these movements and groups are actually doing what they purport to do. Black Lives Matter, anti-fascism, anti-racism, all these great sounding ideas that are used to conceal a really violent, radical agenda for revolution. The enemy they really view is the United States and any of its allies.
Interesting, huh? As I said, I never knew the whole story about Andy Ngo. That's very interesting. And as I mentioned earlier, this thing that Florida's got, I don't know, I think it's kind of a cornballish thing to do. Let's start a website so people can film the extremism and then send the videos and pictures in. By that time, it might be too late. Well, I mean, seriously? Sorry. And as I said, Pambandi, let's do this. Get on your shit. Get on your job. Yeah. Now, yes, as I said, this video, extremism, I will, as I said in the beginning, I honestly think people who get to that level where they act upon extremism of whatever they may believe are pussies. I'm sorry if I have to say it that way. If they let themselves in an idea make them act upon in any way, shape, or form, and it's violence and people are hurt, those people got to go. And I'm not condoning violence unless it's in self-defense. Just saying, self-defense. But I don't know. How extreme are you? How extreme is the right? How extreme is the left? Well, we already know how the left is. And let's be real. It's not just the left. It's the Democrats. It is what it is. Now, I have to post this because this is the Common Sense and Random Shit show. Trump is the king of trolling. You disagree? You're going to be wrong. Just saying. So I have to share this. I edit it, obviously, to make it my own. But yeah, the king of trolling. Check it out. This is freaking awesome. Love this shit. Gotta laugh.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready? Ready!
Hercules. I saw what I was going to do. I was going to share. I saw this one of the channels that like to share their stuff, Savati, and he had his version of it clipped and whatever. I said, you know what? Let me just slightly tweak it and download it from the real Donald Trump's X account. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to make it a little funny and just give credit where credit is due. Holy shit, that shit's funny as hell. Of course, you saw Mr. Jeffries, piece of shit, and Dick Schumer, whatever, piece of shit, doing their thing. They're making fun of us. Shut up. Piece of shit. Anyway, back to extremism. I have to make you laugh for a second. That shit was funny as hell. Telling you, troll master. But yeah. Now, this next video is from another channel I like to share, another stupid week. It kind of has to do with the mentality of someone who would be an extremist to actually believe what this man believes and his reaction to it. I'm just saying, I mean, you could be gay, you could do whatever you want in your personal life. I don't even know if this thing is real, but you know, another stupid week always has comments that he type during the video that are actually pretty funny. But check this out.
Don't get me wrong, I'm planning to marry this man on January 3rd, 2026. But I'm also planning for other realities, and I have a go bag ready.
Seriously though, look at the guy in the back. That's just hilarious. Sorry, I'm just saying.
Ready to leave my house at a moment's notice if transgender people start getting taken by the government. I'm not going to stop our life. We're going to plan our life. Might be in the south of France. But we are going to live our lives authentically, and we're not going to ever hide who we are. I love this man with all of my heart. And I have one supportive family member and his wife. I just told my parents my ideas of what's happening and told my mom that I was ready to go in a moment's notice and I would go dark for about 7 days while I get to another country. She said she didn't believe me, but my brother called me just now and said, "You're valid." And then I told them that we're still planning our life together. We're still going to get married on January 3rd, but might not be where we originally planned it. Transgender people are scared. I'm transgender, I'm non-binary, I'm queer.
Transgender? Like, was he a woman and transitioned to a man with a beard? Okay.
And I'm an activist. And I'm never going to fucking hide myself again. Stay safe, my transgender family. I'm proud of you all.
Yeah, okay. That was kind of mean, but, you know, I kind of agree. Stop shooting people, extremists. But see the mentality there? They actually believe that they're disappearing trans people, I guess. Is that what he said? But yeah, as Michelle said, oh, geez. Yeah. These people exist. These people exist. And, yeah, since this show is entitled Extremism, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Oh, crap. Hold on a second. I got to find something. Somehow I got disconnected. All right. Here we go. The ADL, was Anti-Defamation League, I guess, makes a fool of itself again with its latest extremism report. At this point, they should just close the stores. I'm just saying.
Don't worry about Charlie Kirk's way. The ADL has become such a cuckoo organization that you wonder why anyone pays it any attention. But just this week, in the wake of the Charlie Kirk killing, NBC posted some of the ADL's so-called data. Look at this. Right-wing ideologies have fueled more than 70% of all extremist attacks and domestic terror plots since 2002 in the U.S. And look at that big blue bar at the top. White supremacists are on the rampage. So don't worry about Charlie Kirk's killer or attempts to murder the president. The problem, always and everywhere, is white supremacy. How does the ADL get these silly numbers? Every year, it puts out a report called Murder and Extremism to tell you how awful white people were the previous year. Here is this year's report about last year's awful white people. Most of the 2024 extremist-related murders were committed by white supremacists, and you would assume that all the other killers were white too. Only 13 deaths, which must have been a disappointment for the ADL, but not a single Islamic or left-wing killing. What were all these white supremacist murders you never heard about? Career criminal Jesse James Sullivan was out of the big house on parole. He killed his half-brother because he thought the brother had snitched about another crime. The ADL says that the killer was in a white prison gang. Don McDougal, who had a record of child enticement, killed this 11-year-old girl. The ADL says he has 2 swastika tattoos and has ties to a white prison gang. Aaron Salter, a criminal on the lam, beat a man to death with a metal baseball bat after telling him, "Stay out of my yard." The ADL says he was affiliated with a white supremacist prison gang. Zachary Babbitts had been out of the pen just a few months when he killed a man and stole his Jeep. ADL says he has a 1488 tattoo and had just joined the Asatru Folk Assembly, which it calls white supremacist. Darren Abbey killed a man camping in a tent and stole his guns. He reportedly has a swastika tattoo.
Let's be real. This is kind of long, but, you know, because I guess he had a tattoo. He's white supremacist. You know, they should use that same analogy when it comes to MS-13. Oh, he's not an MS-13 member, even though he's got the tattoos. Hey, I have 3 tattoos of the insignia logo of my gang. There's no denying it. I got a huge one on my stomach that actually says SFFS. Soloido Forever Soloido with the happy and sad skull theater masks. No denying it when I was. It even says forever. I'm not, trust me. But anyway, just have to share that a little bit. Yeah, right, go bag. Actually, up north, we call them go bags. But seriously, he's got a go bag? What's in it? Tampons? Anyway. And yes, This is who just picked the lead to the, what is it, the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show. You know, I saw this the other day, and I got to say something about it. That's not extreme. I mean, come on, seriously. Anyway, Puerto Rican American. That guy's American. Douchebag. I saw this the other day when I was watching a football game. I was like, really? That's who they pick? A guy who hates America? An American who hates America? I don't know. I don't even listen to this reggaeton. It's like a Spanish rap. And I kind of liked it back in the day, long time ago. But I was like, this guy's a fake. But yeah, I just had to put my 2 cents in. Somebody posted something on YouTube about it. And I was like, you need to understand this. I don't even think this idiot knows that he's American. I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous how stupid. I've mentioned before, the worst kind of liberal to me, being Hispanic, is a Hispanic liberal, because that just makes them stupid that they're on that side. I'm just saying, I decide. Whatever. Oh, look, do you feel bad for radical leftists who riot in America? Hell no. Sorry. Just saying. I just got what you... Anyway, would you support the National Guard using water cannons for defense tonight against the Antifa rioters at the Ice Broadway facility? Yes! They should bring those back. Anyway, I'm going to kill more time today because I got to get to work in a little while. I just got what you... Cool Whip. I just got that. Yeah. Wait, can you pronounce that? True. But that's funny. They have Cool Whip in their go bag. Cool Whip, K7 jelly, and tampons. But yeah, I just started getting into football again, and every time I see something, I'm like, yeah, see that? That's woke. Yeah, that's it. My wife, she doesn't talk politics. She doesn't like talking about politics at the house. This is one of the reasons I do this, because I don't talk to a lot of people. So I have to express my views, feelings to you. Thank you for being here for me. The 2 people that are watching. I think one of them is me, because I'm co-witnessing myself. So there's 2 people, me and Michelle. I'm watching myself and Michelle. Hey, Michelle, thanks for being there. Loyal. Just saying. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to say adieu for now, because I got to start getting ready, get all this shit together, and get to my job before 8 o'clock. Thanks for watching. As I said, no extremism is good extremism. You're a bunch of pussies if you get to that level where you got to act upon what you believe. I'm just saying. But I believe in America. I believe in Trump. I believe in conservatism. I believe that there are good people out there. But I also believe there are evil people out there. So be vigilant. Be prepared. And if shit hits the fan, don't let it hit you in the face. And, I said before, I may not have my Second Amendment rights, but trust me, I always have something, just in case. Especially me being a Kempo guy. Put a knife in a Kempo guy's hands. Forget about it. Just saying. Ninja. Anyway, love you guys. Stay true to the red, white, and blue. Not sure what I'm going to talk about yet. I'm sure throughout the day I'll see you in the video, and I'll be like, yeah, that's what I want to talk about tomorrow. And for those 3 people that are watching me, thank you. Love you guys. Link in the description will be to the and to know complete video from previews in the link in the description. And it is what it is. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah. Say la vie. La vie. Ladies. Yeah, I always do that. I don't know why.